All right, we're on part 26 of hydrotherapy theory and practice. So a combination of looking at the background and how to apply various hydrotherapy techniques. Just a reminder that as you navigate any health challenge, it's always recommended that you partner with a medical practitioner that has a similar philosophy of care that you do. The things that we talk about here are just essentially additional tools for your toolbox of helping you to get well or maintain wellness, depending on the situation. It's not medical advice, just tools that others have used successfully. And just always make sure you investigate and verify any treatment protocol or procedure for yourself without just blindly moving forward without doing your own due diligence. 1903, Thomas Edison was noted as saying, "The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will instruct his patient in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease." I wonder how far in the future that was he was thinking about, because that was over 100 years ago. There are some doctors out that do that, but not nearly as many as one would find helpful for keeping the human population in its highest capacity. But even before that, in 1885, it was noted that there are many ways of healing, practicing the healing art, that is, being a healer or a physician. But there's only one way that heaven approves. God's remedies are the simple agencies of nature that will not take both energy from the system or dollars from your pocket. They have powerful properties. So pure air and water, cleanliness, a proper diet, purity of life, firm trust in God. These are basic remedies, and many are dying because they're not using them, because they've gone out of date in some respects. Not that they are out of function, they're just not being used because it's not the current bell and whistle that some would like to have with an immediate reaction. So they take time to both apply and to learn how to do well. So that's part of what we're doing here in the series, is learn to do those things. But there's basic things that aren't taxing, both from a physiological standpoint or a monetary standpoint. That's keeping a clean, sweet premises, pure water, air, exercise. They're all within reach. Health is important even all the way back into scriptural times. 3 John 1 verse 2, "Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers." Romans 12, 1 and 2 states, "I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good, acceptable, and perfect will of God." In the ministry of healing, it was noticed that the knowledge that the man is to be a temple of God, a habitation for the revealing of his glory or his character, should be the highest incentive to the care and development of our physical powers. Fearfully and wonderfully has the Creator wrought or made in the human frame, and he bids us or asks us to make it our study, understand its needs, and act our part in preserving it from harm and defilement. Tonight, we're going to be looking at the hot foot bath to start with. And it's a continuous hot water treatment for the feet. So what we've done up to this point in numerous occasions is talk about the contrast bath, where you go from hot to cold, But this is a continuous hot water treatment for the feet. What it does is it draws blood from congested areas and other places of the body to the legs and the feet, away from areas of congestion. So congestion basically just means that that's where, like traffic on the freeway is congested, it's moving slowly. The blood is moving slowly through the area. And this will help to increase the mobility and motility of the blood through the circulatory system and away from areas of congestion, whether they be organs or tissues. So it helps provide relief and circulation benefits for the brain. So that's a distal area, quite distant from the feet and legs. The lungs, so that's upper torso, abdominal organs, and pelvic organs. So right down the torso. Blood is encouraged to circulate, and in so doing benefits the entire body. And it does that by bringing in additional oxygen from the lungs, taking away additional carbon dioxide, which is a byproduct of cellular respiration, and also removing toxins and other metabolites, bringing in nutrients. So it aids in repair and recovery of tissues. It also aids in just health and nourishment and the building up of tissues into their normal, just regular maintenance stages, but also repairing them if they've been damaged. They can also, this hot foot bath, continuous hot bath, can be a helpful illness prevention and can help prevent infection from setting in. When you are, in a cold environment, someone gets chilled, that can tend to depress their immune system and make them more susceptible to any pathogen that may be available or lurking around. So use the prolonged hot foot bath that we're talking about here tonight, the first signs of a cold. So getting a stuffy headache, runny nose, those kinds of things, a sore throat, or if you've been chilled. Story goes that George Washington fell ill after having been outside and caught a chill, and that led to his demise. It also led to his brother's demise too, early on in life. They caught a chill and weren't able to get their cells turned around. So it sends the chill away. We know that in other forms of treatment that we've talked about, just doing a hot foot bath gives a whole total body warming sensation, can help prepare an individual for various forms of hydrotherapy in other places of the body, and just gives a general feeling of warmness to the entire body. So that's a great benefit, and increases the circulation of the entire body. Also helps to balance the nervous system from nervous fatigue, been under a lot of stress or mental stress. It can help with that. Various tension, muscle tension, and just overall body tension causes relaxation, and can help reduce brain congestion. Essentially, having blood moving slowly through the brain and not being able to think clearly, headache perhaps. It draws that blood down to the lower appendages, away from the head, and decongests the head through vasodilation of the blood vessels in the lower extremity. You can even add Epsom salts to the hot foot bath. That's a great electrolyte source, especially magnesium. A lot of times the people are deficient in magnesium, and that can be very helpful in maintaining good energy levels as well as good reaction times. So just a very important electrolyte that can be absorbed through the skin through an Epsom salt soak. So you can even do that through a whole body bath with Epsom salts. That can be a benefit. So using the hot foot bath can reduce the course of a cold or flu. So when it starts to come on, we know that traditionally a cold or flu can take about 7 days to run its course, but this can actually shorten that course and make it go through its cycle more quickly. And that's what I found actually happening over the course of my life with good nutrition. Supplying yourself with the proper nutrition, if you do catch a cold, it cycles a whole lot quicker than it does if you have poor nutrition. And it can actually even prevent the onset of the cold or flu just simply by staving it off. Headache relief. Again, it causes vasodilation of the lower ankle and feet, calf area, which draws the blood from the head and reduces the headache stress. And it can also be circulatory stimulation for cold feet. You do want to be careful applying this to someone who's diabetic, who has peripheral neuropathy and low amounts of feeling in their feet. Should maybe steer to a different therapy or modality. So if the cold feet are due to poor circulation and nerve ending sensation from a diabetic situation, great caution should be exercised. Also good for pelvic cramping relief. Again, that cramping is congestion. Remember that heat functions as a relaxing agent, in addition to the vasodilation, kind of drawing the blood away. You could even do a hot compress to the pelvic region to help with cramping. Chest and pelvic congestion relief. They can actually be helpful in halting nosebleeds. This time of year, when a person moves to a change in humidity from higher humidity to drier humidity, there can be a tendency for nosebleeds. This can help stop a nosebleed. So putting your feet into a bucket of hot water, again, that vasodilates, it draws the blood quickly away from the upper extremities, and it starves or cuts off the amount of blood flow that's available to come out of the nose. So it helps to halt nosebleeds. And also just generally promotes relaxation. You want to pre-warm. It can also pre-warm a person for a hot and cold contrast hydrotherapy treatment. So that's just like a first step of preparing an individual for treatment, is to give them a hot foot bath and make sure that they have that sensation of warmth all over their body. And that can happen just by doing that localized hot foot bath. So the things that you'll need that are necessary to have this move forward well, you need to have a rather deep bucket. So there's a couple different styles that are noted here in the pictures, but can also use a 5-gallon bucket. That would allow you to get higher up your calves and have more surface area covered. Ideally, you want to be able to cover the feet and the ankles in their entirety. That works out better than just having a splash bath of the feet. But the higher up you get up the calves, then the more area that can be utilized for drawing. You want to have a thermometer, a bath thermometer, that can measure the temperature of the water. And you're going to be wanting that temperature to be measured up to 110 degrees, and then the range of usage is between 103 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit for the water. You may start out with that lower temperature and then add additional hot water through the course to not only maintain heat, but to increase the heat over time. A bath towel for drying, and you can see how this one bucket is kind of handily arranged and organized to have a bath towel already on a rack. A tea kettle of some kind, or a pan for boiling water that's right handy, that you can then use a dipper or pitcher to add more water as the treatment progresses. So this can be done without having a blanket wrap, and it often is. But it can also be used as kind of a major warming, where you would wrap the individual in a blanket and sheet, in addition to having their feet in the hot water. And an assistant is probably necessary to do this effectively, where you would have a cold compress for the head or neck. And then floor or bedding protection, essentially some visqueen or plastic or paper, not a paper, but a tablecloth, a plastic tablecloth or shower curtain can work really well for that. So you can do the blanket wrap, or just do a simple foot soak, depending on what the actual desired effect is. So to apply this, you want to make sure that you're in a warm, draft-free room. So you're not going to be having chilly drafts coming your direction. You want to have towel with plastic protection. So have a nice set of plastic bags or something available to put underneath, so any water that gets splashed doesn't cause any damage to any surfaces. You want to start with 104 degrees Fahrenheit water that covers the ankle completely. You can do the thermometer test, but you can also do an elbow test too, kind of a classic method of testing baby waters. If it's baby water for a bath, if it's too hot for your elbow, then it's probably too hot for baby. So you can do the elbow test or use a thermometer to test the temperature of the water for adequacy. You want to make sure that you talk to whoever you're putting through the treatment, just so they know whatever you do, whenever you do it, you want to walk people through it verbally, give them an idea of what you're going to do, and then tell them as you do it what you're doing, so that they are right along with you and can help you as needed, and just relax into it rather than being surprised along the way. So you want to place the feet into the tub of water, wrap a blanket around their body. They can be sitting or lying down. If they are lying down, just their knees are going to be up and their feet are going to be in the basin. You want to make sure that the calves don't press against the outer rim of the tub that you're using for their foot bath. It's just a pressure point, and also not only a pressure point, but it can cut the circulation off and reduce the ability of the blood to flow through the venous system, which is at the surface of tissues. The arterial system is going to be deeper in the tissues, closer to the muscles. So you don't want to cut any movement of blood down by having a pressure point. So after you put their legs into the water, their ankles and feet, slowly add hot water, raising the temperature 112, 115 degrees. That's where that little thermometer is going to be really handy. You want to add it so that the water flows down the inside of the bucket, and also protect the feet with your hands so that you're not going to be scalding the person you're working with. You want to stir the water as it's added so the temperature evens out quickly during each addition. I'm going to continue this bath for 10 to 30 minutes, the foot bath. Depending on the situation, you may need to do some head cooling with a cold compress, especially true for longer applications up to 30 minutes in duration. And you may also want to have some cold water from the sip with a straw. That can be helpful to help maintain the coolness that's necessary in the nervous centers of the head. So as you come to the completion of the treatment, you want to pull their feet out of the water gently and then quench them with a cold water rinse. You want to have the entire foot, both top and bottom, be contacted with the cold water. If a person is feeble, you may omit this because it does have a reaction associated with it, and it may take more energy than the situation demands. So just use your judgment on that. You want to place the feet on a dry towel and remove the tub away, and then dry the feet well. You want to make sure that there's no moisture left between the toes, and just get that thoroughly dried, and then have them warm. If the person is sweating, you want to make sure they dry them off as well. That helps to prevent chilling as they're resting afterwards. So they should rest approximately 30 minutes post any hydrotherapy treatment, or you can end up having the treatment modality being negated, and the essential effects will not be worthwhile. So after any hydrotherapy treatment, make sure that you have that adequate rest following the treatment. So some cautions: you don't want to give this particular treatment, especially with the higher temperature water, to anybody with atherosclerosis of the feet, hardening of the arteries. Essentially, that's what's being shown here with our arteries at the leg. You have arterial plaques that can build up and cause occlusions of the blood vessels of the feet. So you don't want to give it to people because they don't have the adequate vasodilation, vasoconstriction capacity, because there isn't the resiliency and the capacity of the blood vessels to accommodate that change in flow as well as it should. Also, diabetics with peripheral neuropathy, they have a loss of skin sensation in their nerve centers in their feet, and it could cause burning in addition to that. So when you're sick, just get a little bucket of water, a hot pitcher there to add into it, grab a blanket, and hopefully you don't sniffle too much as you dip your feet in that hot bucket of water and get yourself all set up and warmed up again after being chilled, and maybe you can stave off that next illness that's coming your direction.